And we're back for the match of the day. You've all been waiting for it. We are finally here in this moment. We have Lucky Future Zenith versus T1w Esports. And why, may you ask, is this the match of the day? Both these teams are 3-0. So we're going to finally see one of these teams finally fall in this group, which I believe is Group A, if I'm not mistaken here. But anyways, Mushu Beef, I'm back here for the final match hosting. We have a new analyst approaching. We have Panda again from our match 2. Hello. Hello. And
hello.
we have Blank joining us as well. Blank, how's it going, man?
I return from game 1, so I'm excited for this game. It looks pretty cool. I mean, T1w
cool.
only
It
dropped
looks
1
pretty
map.
nice.
Lucky Future Zenith, 0 maps lost.
Yeah, that's something going to be a fun one. And in terms of looking, I see you fixed your icy gate, your co-analyst Panda. So very, very impressive for sure. But guys, let's go ahead and talk about these teams here. So Lucky Future Zenith, we are in Chinese Contenders, Panda. But tell us about this team.
Oh, Lucky Future Zenith, though they are in Chinese Contenders, is a full Korean roster. In fact, all one things considering besides 177, one of their substitutes for supports, but expect big things coming out from their main line altogether. I mean, when you're taking a look at LFZ, it's a very, very strong team altogether. I would definitely say the strongest part about this team altogether is actually Michelle. Michelle has a fantastic flexibility as far as playing DPS and coordinating along with tank play behind Marvel as well. So expect big things to come through as far as space is concerned and big bombs.
Ooh, space. Let's keep that under control in terms of the memes today. But anyways, we'll be looking for seeing the space that is created. But T1w, Blank, on the opposite side, what are we looking at for this squad?
So we actually had some fierce discussion last night when we were trying to break down these teams. Now, T1w, we feel, can stand up to Lucky Future Zenith, but they've got a stacked team, right? They've got Molo and Crystal, who we think can actually stand up to Erster and DM, despite them being such powerhouses at the moment. But we had actually Scribe from the last game, the cool dude with the deep V-neck.
It was deep.
He was
Of all things to point out, but
he actually spoke to T1w's coach and was letting us know yesterday that they have some wild cards that they can throw in there, and they're hoping that can off balance Lucky Future Zenith. So you might see a third DPS or an Ana that's run that's able to shut down the coordinated dive from Lucky Future Zenith. But I'm excited all around though. This could go either way. I think Panda's gonna hit us with some numbers at some point, so we can break this down. But I'm pretty excited to see T1w, and I know Panda, you've seen a little bit more about the schedule, which hasn't been actually as tough as Lucky Future Zenith's.
That definitely plans into the future for Lucky Future Zenith to walk forward a little bit stronger. They have had a more difficult, I would say, schedule compared to T1w. But as far as David versus Goliath goes, I don't think we're really facing that. I think we're only in store for some really good Overwatch.
Oh, for sure.
and especially since this is actually a rematch of Season 1 China Contender semifinals from last season, and that went to 3-2. So in the best of 5, all the way to the end, where LFZ or Lucky Future Zenith was the one that walked away with it. So let's kind of like take a step back, because both of these squads are 3-0 in their group, and which likely means they're pretty much secure to playoff spot, given it is a group of 6 in this round robin. So guys, I want to open it up, because I think what's important is that, like, while they not have playoff implications that some of the matches do, these teams are still fighting for something. So that being said, what are they what are they really fighting for here and trying to prove for both of these squads here? So Panda, let's go to you for Lucky Future Zenith, especially as the Korean roster coming into this. What are their expectations with this match?
I feel like they need to hold their ground, really. They came in to Chinese Contenders with their stick. They drew the line in the sand, and now they need to hold it, and they need to hold it strong. And I mean, going forward off of that as well, South Korean roster is a very strong and versatile one. But what these two teams are playing for altogether is that big dog spot. Who's going to be coming away with their first loss, and who's going to be walking away with the strongest momentum?
Who's going to be the big lad? Blank, let's go to you real quick. T1w, what are they fighting for in this series?
These guys are fighting for a mental edge coming into the playoffs right there. This is exactly it. It's the big lad to defeat in playoffs. Will T1w get that mental edge going into some of their more tougher matches after Lucky Future Zenith? Lucky Future Zenith being the biggest one for them. Are they able to take this one today? Because it is a grudge match. I know we talked about semi-final last season, and that might not mean much, but the rosters are pretty much the same. So this is a huge grudge match coming back together. Who takes away with this one? LFC, T1w. We're going to Lijiang now, so I'm going to pass them back to you, Mush.
Absolutely. And we are feeling it right now. It's going to be the battle between the Titans in this group. I don't know if I'm feeling just the energy of this match or feeling the force, because you got coming up on the casting desk is Kenobi and Rapture. Guys, take it away.
Thanks, Moosh. We're here for our map of the day, the third and final match to bring things through for this Group A here. This is crazy. Such a huge matchup to wrap up the broadcast here at Broadcast.gg. Thank you all for tuning in. We're here, map 1, Lijiang Tower between Lucky Future Zenith and T1w Esports Club. Kenobi, this is definitely going to be an absolutely amazing match.
Yeah, this is going to be a great one, and they have a lot to the Game 5 we saw last map, but this is a whole new map, and this is definitely going to be a close one as well. As we see, the picks coming out, DM already gets 2, and Rapture, that's probably the fight right there. Great start here for Lucky Future Zenith.
Yeah, DM getting on the board with 2, a nice 2K there to start Lucky Future Zenith off strong. And you know how these maps can go. You can get a nice early completion and snowball your way to some more percentage, and then the win. DM picks up Unhappy, who definitely is wearing their emotions on their sleeve there. Gets picked off. Definitely would like to take that one back. And DM already storming towards an early high noon.
Yeah, Lucky Future Zenith seems is trying to play this little bit of a big boy composition, as we're going to have a pause here. Not sure, maybe some technical difficulties going on with these two teams, but it looks pretty convincing right now for Lucky Future Zenith. I mean, they look pretty good. They seem to be playing very just in the face of T1w, maybe punching him in the mouth just to start. So T1w looked like they were switching to Goats comp after that. It's going to be a good thing to, just to run into the Orisa Roadhog that's coming in and just, try and do a lot of damage and get their ultimates very quickly.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that we went to a pause so early, because it seemed like we had some momentum. Lucky Future Zenith, we're going right back in, so that pause was very, very quick. Lucky Future Zenith looks like after they've won that fight, they can let things go back. But unfortunately for them, now things are steamrolling and swinging on the pendulum back in the other team's favor. T1w taking control of the point. They get 1 pick and use the Dragon Strike to break up the defense of LFC. But DM still has this high noon, finally has it. And if they get some kills off Erster on this Hanzo in the back, that'd be great. But they're being harassed by the D.Va, Unhappy in their grill. And that detaching the Hanzo from the rest of the team makes it hard for Lucky Future Zenith to get these kills. T1w Esports Club pick it up, get the wipe, and the point completion.
Yeah, I really like this pick of the Goats comp coming out for T1w Esports Club. They understand that, this is a very immobile composition coming out from Lucky Future Zenith. So if we just play Goats, we can just run at them and displace the Hog and the Orisa there, melt the Orisa before she's able to do anything, get Crystal out of charge for that Zarya. And it looks like they're going to go in just again right now with the Shattered.
Yeah, they're going to move right in, be proactive. Yeah, the Earth Shatter from Silver 3 waiting out both the D.Va self-destruct and the bubble, but they can't survive. Not in position. Everyone got booped away. Michelle gets 2.5, 2 kills, and the Unhappy D-Mac. Very good pickoffs there with the self-destruct. Seeing that Lucky Future Zenith was being aggressive, they throw that into their backline. There's nowhere for LFZ to run, and they get punished for it.
Yeah, way to be proactive from Michelle there. Just throw out the D.Va, understand that they're going very aggressive, and great job also for them to, displace the Reinhardt, so both of those picks could come through. Great job from them. And it looks like, T1w, they still have 3 ultimates to their name. They have the Graviton and the Shatter, and these could be huge.
Yeah, Silver 3 needs to get a ton off this Earth Shatter. They have the Graviton at the Dwips, or they could use both at the same time, but ideally they would use just one or the other. Unhappy's going to use go in there, try and build some charge as Crystal threw down the Graviton. Unhappy's the only one to get anything off of that. Erster, though, finds 2 on the side of the fight, gets 2 at the barrage, and just like that, Lucky Future Zenith have stopped T1w Esports Club from completing on the point with just those DPS from LFZ popping off.
Yeah, and T1, Silver 3 still has his Shatter after all of that. You definitely have, that's something you need to just start using off cooldown there. You need to start being proactive with your ultimates. We've seen it from Lucky Future Zenith. Michelle just throwing D.Va's self-destruct into the fight. You need to just start using this. Even if you're getting 1, it's better than just keeping it forever.
That being said, they have it for this fight, but no, it whips. Silver 3 waiting all that time, whips the Earth Shatter. No, T1 Esports Club. Now they have no ultimates remaining until the rally comes out from Molon Run. Unhappy and Silver 3, though, finding the kills. They might not be out of it just yet. Lucky Future Zenith still holding on with a few members, but they're going to reset. There's no point in wasting time. DM's going to roll right back, let T1w take the point, and then re-engage with an ult or two. Let's see how Lucky Future Zenith resituates outside the point.
Yeah, Silver 3, that was a little bit of a wood tier shatter coming out from Silver 3 there. Not really the best, whiffs just a little bit. I think got one person in the back line, but was managed to hold up with some good play at the end there. Was able to swing his hammer and get the people, you know, displaced just a little bit, zoned them off. But DM has this Deadeye, so they might decide to use this as a zoning Deadeye, which we see sometimes. And also IDK with that whole hog can do a lot of damage and a lot of displacement.
So LFZ, they have Erster, that spy behind enemy lines, doing a lot of damage on the fire. Here comes DM to try and open things up, force them into the barrage from Erster. Great play, but if they put out Michelle, there's way too much for T1w to deal with. The Michelle Diva self-destruct catches anyone that got away from Erster's barrage, and Lucky Future Zenith just absolutely destroyed T1w Esports with an amazing amount of ultimates used at the perfect time. Great timing from LFZ. And they get the completion. That's point A taken. The first point, that is 185 for LFZ 1-0.
Great ultimate usage there. I mean, it was so cool. They tried to halt everyone into the Deadeye, missed barely, but because they had to use the shield there and because they didn't have it, the self-destruct came in and they were just so preoccupied with everything in front of them. Michelle, with these self-destructs so far, absolutely huge, kind of hitting these like RCK, European Contenders bombs, right? Where they just go in, they're getting 2 to 3 kills every single time. Michelle here playing very, very well.
I love about this, what I love about this from Lucky Future Zenith is that they had their ultimate staggered in such a way that it outdistanced the amount of possible distance that T1w could go in retreating. So like they had the McCree Deadeye. If you didn't get caught by that, you got caught by the barrage beyond that. If you didn't get caught by the barrage, you were caught by the self-destruct beyond that. So like there was almost nowhere for T1w to go unless they went onto the right side towards server room in the white room. And it pretty much shut down any option they had. So great job by Lucky Future Zenith. There's a Mullen run on the Sombra for some reason, sacrificing their body to the map gods, but
it's a ritual maybe.
Yeah, I'm not sure. There's no volcano there, so I'm not entirely sure how much they're going to get off of it, but they'll get back in, just shake it off and push up onto the point here. It's Crystal on the Tracer. They have the Tracer and a Sombra, an interesting DPS duo we haven't seen today.
Yeah, so it looks like they're just going to do their best to try and just burst down enemies with the Tracer. The Tracer and Sombra, if the hacks are coming through, can do a ton of damage. And it has, you know, pretty good damage potential coming out from both, and also onto tanks as well, as Marvel is going to get a couple of kills. But it looks like they're going to be able to hold the point here, T1w Esports. And this is the kind of thing I think you need when you're fighting Lucky Future Zenith. You need a little bit of, you know, different compositions coming out from them. It looks like Lucky Future Zenith going to switch over to the Brigitte to try and counter these two divey, you know, DPS coming out from them.
Yeah, and T1w with the Widowmaker as well. So I mean, they're riding a lot on these damage dealers to pick off Lucky Future Zenith squishies or the support before the fight gets going, or distract the tanks. So like this is a lot riding on these DPS players. Lucky Future Zenith kind of finding the holes in the armor here, going in and separating the DPS from each other and their supports. They can't get enough healing. They go down one by one, and a great stagger onto Illusion that Lucio and Molanron going down. So Lucky Future Zenith finally getting control of the point and should be able to tie it up percentage-wise.
Yeah, you mentioned that they separated the DPS and Wyatt was just kind of left on an island by himself. And you don't, especially with the Lucio, you don't really have that, you know, self-healing that, you know, you kind of get, or that direct healing that you get from the Zenyatta, and then the Mercy that can, you know, help through that damage that's put onto the Widow. So really good from them.
Wow, Sombra ultimate from Molanron coming in. They get everyone down into that EMP just as a bunch of Lucky Future Zenith members were trying to get off the point because they were low HP. That Sombra EMP from Molanron was perfectly timed, and that's more than enough for T1w to take the fight.
Yeah, great job from Molanron there, you know, and this Sombra pick has been paying off just a little bit more. You know, EMP, such a good ultimate, we know, can, you know, basically turn fights as we saw there. But Lucky Future Zenith, again, we've been talking about it all this time. Ult economy for them is so good. They have 3 ultimates to their name, about to have 4, so they're doing a really good job on their ult economy.
And I think maybe an issue for Lucky Future Zenith is without their own Sombra, it's gonna be hard to deal with these EMPs coming out from Molanron if they can keep them consistent. So we'll see how it works out. Wyatt finds Erster, but it's immediately rebuffed there by DM, who gets rid of the Sombra Molanron. So 5v5 until Lucid re-reses Erster, and then Unhappy gets put down. So Lucky
Oh.
Future Zenith just nonchalantly taking that fight off of the backs of DM and Marvel. And they're going to take this back, still holding on to a bunch of ultimates and about to get 2 more.
Yeah, and they have EMP again from Molon Run here, and we saw last time the EMP basically won them a fight, but Erster here gonna play a little bit more passive, gonna try and sneak in this barrage, but Lucky Future again still have a lot of ultimates to their name. 4, they're gonna use the rally, so Molon Run here gonna have a little bit of time with this EMP, but he hits it, and it's gonna hit a lot of people.
And that EMP was in the exact same position it was in the previous fight, but not the same targets were there. Erster finds Waya, who's been hanging out on the bridge almost this entire map, gets rid of him, but only 1 barrage kill. DM picks up the slack on Molenron, gets rid of that Sombra. Lucky Future Zenith down to no ultimates, except DM's about to get the pulse bomb. That could be enough to take care of Silver 3, who's still harassing on the point. About to get there, looks in, goes for the sticky, but whips it. Silver 3, though, still forced to jump away. IDK picks up 2. It's enough for Lucky Future Zenith to get control of the point.
Yeah, Molon, they're missing the most important target. He missed the Lucio with his EMP, and then the Lucio was able to sound barrier, so it healed up a lot of the damage that was coming out from the enemy team through that EMP. So great job from the Lucio to stay back a little bit and then use the ultimate just in time to save them from the EMP. As it's 96, 97 Rapture. They need to go right now to get on the point.
They need to. They do cut down Michelle early on, but DM finds Waya, so it's a somewhat even trade there. Waya could have been enough to get some 2 quick kills and stop this fight for Lucky Future Zenith. Without that Bree, it's definitely going to hurt the side of Lucky Future Zenith for just a moment, as both teams come into a halt in terms of kills until Erster finds Monon again. The Sombra not able to get close enough to another EMP when T1w Esports Club definitely needs it, but they are 15% away from taking this point as long as they can dislodge Lucky Future Zenith. But Erster has something to say about that. Michelle also finds Unhappy. Lucky Future Zenith now starting to pile on the kills. Waya again on the bridge like they've been the entire map, and Erster knows where to look. They get that easy kill. Another right cliff from IDK, and Molon Run, desperation change to the Reaper, gets cut down by the Lucio. Lucky Future Zenith, just barely in time. Illusion's there to touch it, but there's no one else there to sustain. Silver 3 gets there, but at this point, it's pretty much a lost cause. Unhappy, they're going to stagger in 1 by 1. Lucky Future Zenith able to deal with it as they come in. And there's your first map, LFZ, up 1-0 in so far an exciting set.
Yeah, LFZ taking their map win record to 13-0 right now, still unblemished in their record. But T1w definitely is putting up a fight. It was a 2-0, but these two teams are definitely a lot closer than we've seen. LFZ is being tested a little bit here, so it is a pretty close. And I love what I see. They're bringing out some creative things from T1w. They're bringing out the Sombra, didn't work that well, but we saw glimpses of where it could work. And I think that's definitely what they need to beat someone like Lucky Future Zenith, because Lucky Future Zenith looks like such a well-oiled machine on whatever they're playing. And so maybe you got to throw a wrench into that well-oiled machine.
Exactly. This has been a test for LFZ, but so far their Scantron has been filled out correctly. We do have to go to a break to get ready for our next map, but don't go anywhere. More questions to be answered on the other side of that break.
Here's my theory. Whoever made that noise made it intentionally. So we would hear it and find him.
Welcome back, Overwatchers, to more of the English coverage of Overwatch Contenders China Week 4, Season 2, 2018. I am Rapture here with Kenobi for the second map of this set between Lucky Future Zenith and their opponents, T1w Esports Club. It is 1-0 for LFZ, who are still perfect in their season. They've yet to drop a map. Can T1w topple them as we go into Eichenwald for a second map? Kenobi, you ready for it?
Yeah, I'm definitely ready for it. And, LFZ definitely want to keep their perfect streak going. You don't want to ever lose that mystique, right? That mystique of like, oh, we're the undefeated team. You want to just keep that going. And T1W definitely looking to be that first team to beat them at their own game. So I'm definitely looking forward to see what's going to be happening with these two teams, is what they're going to bring out here on Eichenwald.
Absolutely. Yeah, both teams are getting ready and situated. Of course, as we mentioned, LFZ have not dropped an entire map. So we really as far as we know going into this, they should be able to take it as well. They won 2-0 on the previous map on Control. So right now, I mean, they're looking very strong going into this. T1w Esports right now have to kind of figure out what can they do before Lucky Future Zenith steamrolls to a third map and potentially takes this whole set without T1w really able to put up a fight. We'll see. Can they find the solution, or will Lucky Future Zenith get out too far ahead of them?
And it looks like both teams are going to be running the pharmacy. Pharmacy on definitely sees a lot of play, as you can hide a bit around buildings. Keep yourself and keep the pharmacy safe as the fair. So both teams here, the pharmacy battles definitely is something to look out for. But DM is going to be on that McCree, and as we saw on that last map, DM is a very, very confident McCree.
Oh, that's an understatement, Kenobi. DM was such a linchpin player for Lucky Future Zenith. Constantly popping up, a very, very consistent McCree. And that, a character like McCree, you got to be consistent. It's even more important than other characters who may have more sustained DPS over time. DM, though, looking like any other character might be using an assault rifle. Michelle finds the kill on Silver 3, and DM joining the rest of the pack, still looking for Moanron, not letting them get an inch. Moanron forced to go to the ground and take into cover, while Erster is shooting at some shots, and DM picks up the kill. A 2v1 using Erster as bait, as Moanron gets picked off by DM, and T1w Esports forced back to the drawing board.
Yeah, DM, they're doing such a good job of, getting those shots onto the Pharah. Even if you're not getting those, which he did in the end, he had 4 raw shots onto that Pharah, and that forces them away even through the Mercy healing. So great job from him. And Erster already 90% towards that ultimate. And look at them, Rapture. Lucky Future Zenith, 3 ults, 4 ults, about to have 5 ults to their name, and T1W, not too much to their name.
They might have 6 ultimates, Kenobi, before we go into this fight. T1w Esports might want to try and use some of them to force LFZ to burn theirs or kill them before they can pop their ultimates. Crystal has the Dragon Strike, but without a confirmation into it like a Graviton Surge, they just have to hope for some kills to try and split up the defense. Here it comes, and now you can see trying to split up the team. The D.Va and the Bree held up, but look at this. T1 Esports unable to wade through the storm. Lucky Future Zenith just shrugs it off, picks up 3.5 kills. T1w Esports not only losing the fight, but barely able to get LFC to burn any of their ultimates. They're still sitting on 3.
So I would like to see T1W here maybe just switch off of these dive tanks. I mean, you're running dive into anti-dive here, basically. If you're not going to get, you're going to get hooked, you're going to get halted, you're going to get McCree stunned. It's just not going to be a good time for the dive tanks here of T1W, as they're going to be, get blown up basically on impact, and you don't really have anyone to go with you if you just have a Pharah and a Hanzo. So I would really like to see them switch off, just, maybe play something a little bit different, maybe Ryan Zarya to go into this.
Well, looks like to try and get in now, they're going to use the transcendence from Wyatt to push their way in, but they might have to wait a moment. Moanron gets picked off by Marvel, and that's a big loss, especially from an Orisa. You really can't afford to do that. Look at this, Crystal gets cut off by Ursa though, so the defense getting a little too egregious there, getting a bit greedy moving up through the choke point, so they get paid the ultimate price. They have to, take that cost into effect. Lucid does get the res and Para though. Then IDK, as Silver 3 for whatever reason just dives up onto the tanks, gets killed, but Moanron coming and sneaking their way into the backlines, gets a barrage, gets some other kills, unhappy, stealing away the rest, and T1W, just like that, a flash in the pan shot turns into a huge burst swing for T1W just under the minute mark to take point A away from Lucky Future Zenith.
Yeah, we know Moanron to be this incredible Pharah player, and it looks like they're going to get the point, and the dive is coming in, so that's a lot of staggers and a lot of alt arches they're going to be feeding to T1W there, but we know Moanron, as I said before, is this really good Pharah player, and there basically pulls his team out of the fire because Silver 3 had gone in and died almost immediately, but Moanron able to get that huge barrage and those huge couple of picks to turn the fight in their favor, as Crystal is going to knock Erster out of the sky.
Yeah, Erster was kind of like hanging there, not doing anything. Lucky Future Zenith just feeding a little bit here to T1w, and not only that, giving them more real estate than T1w probably needs right now. They already have a lot of acres. Why are you giving them some more? They need some zoning permits out here. Lucky Future Zenith now trying to get their defense together here on the other side of the castle, but they're taking so much time that they're letting their players get cut down through the corridor. DM gets put down. A lot of Widow damage is being thrown in, and T1w Esports is cleaning up now. Silver 3 just raging with this Primal, pops in, looks and tries to force the res out, does so. Lucid gets IDK back up for whatever reason, unable to get that mercy kill. He was too low at HP, so it decides just to fall back. T1w Esports delaying the defense of Lucky Future Zenith as they push up this payload with just one player and keeping LFZ at bay.
T1w is still making progress on the cart, even though Silver 3 sacrificed his life. He sacrificed it for a good cause. As the Valkyrie's going to come out and the Deadeye, Crystal's going to go down, and that might be the opening they need to go in on this.
So with a self-destruct, forcing everyone on T1 Esports to take cover, go towards the castle where everyone on Lucky Future Zenith is situated. So all those kills come through. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. Lucky Future Zenith about to have some great seafood for dinner as they get the cleanup. T1w Esports shut down at 1 minute and 40 seconds.
Yeah, and it looks like, Ursa going to switch over to this Genji. Definitely a cover pick for him. We know, as we've seen before in this, Chinese Contender season, he definitely likes it as Crystal's getting dangerously low, and the Primal is going to be committed to this as well. Marble might get bursted down right here.
Yeah, Marvel, that was definitely a head tilter there. Tried to get the kill onto the Widowmaker, but it doesn't work, and forced to use the Primal Rage to get out. Meanwhile, DM is like, all right, it's no worries, man. I'll pick it up. Literally 3 kills without even trying. Gets an easy 3K before Lucky Future Zenith can even, or before T1w Esports can even look at him and react. DM, 3-piece, shuts down T1w.
Yeah, and it looks like they're going to be switching Mauliner onto this Brigitte here, probably just to deal with Ursa on that Genji, make sure he can't get into the back line. But someone's going to have to deal with DM here, because DM is just absolutely hitting every single shot. He has the high noon here, might look to get into the back line here, just a flanking Deadeye.
Yeah, I think he's just waiting for for T1w Esports to move towards the bridge. And now DM gonna rotate over here, look for an angle, seeing that T1w Esports also putting some pressure on the bridge itself. And try to look for some picks, but they have to worry about Crystal contesting on the other side. Looking for a shot onto that discorded monkey. Marvel does go down again, just kind of throwing themselves into the fray without any kind of worry, and they pay for it. Now Ursa trying to pick up the slack, has a blade. They're getting pushed up upon very hard by both pegs of T1w Esports, realizing how important it is to get rid of Ursa so they can blade. Now it's DM. The McCree high noon drawing the attention of Marvel, has to fall back. Now Chris puts some shots on. Oh, what a shot! Urster! Just as the blade was unsheathed, Urster nowhere to run. Gets picked off by Chris, but IDK returns fire. Payload just within 3 meters of completing here. Overtime ticking away. Moen Run swinging away. Self-destruct up above. They need to get into cover just in time. And a bubble will be thrown out, but it's not enough to stop Waya from getting killed. There was a bubble on the boost side, so why not? LFZ gets it up. Now Widowmaker being thrown away by Marvel. 1 minute and 30 seconds remaining. Crystal gets the kill on the Lucid. T1w struggling to stay on. Marvel, they have to get on. They do. They walk it in. They should be right there. 1 minute and 20 seconds. T1w Esports gets that second point, and they're moving through the third phase despite the fight still happening.
What a disgusting shot there at the start from Crystal there onto the ulting Genji, pops him right in the head. No Dragon Blade for you. And then they're able to get the point as well, and Crystal hits the fadeaway even onto Lucid. I mean, great play there from Crystal. Gonna swap over to the Hanzo, but man, Crystal there, absolutely huge headshot.
When you say clip that, Kenobi, that right there.
Clip that.
Put that on your montage, put that on your reel. That's gonna get you some points on your resume right there. Urster.
EDM with it.
Exactly, yeah. Urster might be into that. So maybe drum and bass. I'm not entirely sure. Goes over to the Hanzo. Now we have a monkey super low. Silver 3 that gorilla is gonna be no longer the alpha male of the pack. Gets burnt down thanks to that Discord over. Look at this. LFZ shutting down T1w Esports. They've bounced right back after that big loss. Urster just raining shots down, rain over me. That Storm Bow just absolutely destroying T1w. And now 20 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah, 20 seconds left. They're gonna have the rally to go in with this and the Valk, so they can probably get in. Silver 3 gonna have to get Primal Rage very quickly here, because he might be the only thing that can stall at the point as it's this far away. But he needs to not get blown up at the start of this fight.
Oh, and again, Silver 3 forced to jump right in and use the Prime Waves. They are literally around like 100 HP as they dove in. Had to use the Prime Wave to stay alive. Now it transcends from Wire. T1w Esports using all their sustained ults just to move on to the point. Plus the Dragon Strike, they're getting no kills off it. T1w Esports reducing themselves to just the Diva self-destruct. Unhappy still has that, but here's YN Crystal in the back corner getting some kills. Crystal for 2, looking for more. Finds the Gorilla, gets 3. Overtime ticking away. 4.65 meters remaining. A couple more kills, and that'll go right in. Crystal on the team that gets the kill.
Crystal popped
Crystal absolutely popping off right there, putting the team on their back. T1w. I have still more to say. That lifeline still showing some blips on the chart. 3 points there, and LFZ almost stunned a little bit, as they probably didn't expect to stop, or they probably didn't expect 3 points coming out there from T1w.
No, definitely. Speaking of what we said last map, T1w, definitely, that's a we take those moment, right? It's like they were definitely not looking very good, but Crystal, man, just kind of lit up at the end there, got that huge pick onto the Dragon Blade, because if that Dragon Blade goes through, there's no Transcendence there, I don't believe, to counter any of that, and he's just going to pop off in the backline, so great job from him. And then at the end, they're just playing that momentum, Hanzo, getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 picks. Great job from him. And, the tank line, while Silver 3 has been a little bit too aggressive here, he has created a little bit of space for Crystal to be working, but Silver 3 needs to maybe rein it just back a little bit.
I will have to say, though, the we take those difference, right? Let's just make this clear, right? We take those is not just like, oh, some pop stuff happens, right? Like, we take those, like, the other team messes up, and we take those. Like, all right, if you're going to give it to us, you're going to go out of position, let us get the kills. We take those. Right there, I would say, is just a clear case of T1w Esports just getting the best of Lucky Future's Zenith, regardless of positioning, and just the onslaught from Crystal towards the end. Now, I will say that Lucky Future's Zenith throwing out some heads, peeking past corners, probably more than they should. That air shot, kind of nuts coming out. You probably don't need to feed that over to Crystal. But yeah, T1w Esports just turning the key in the ignition, turning it up to 11, up to 12, really. And I would say putting Lucky Future's Zenith on their heels now, because going into this, I would say Lucky Future's Zenith probably thought they had the momentum, we had the advantage, we won that convincingly, we've won every map, like, this should be no different. And now T1w has completed the map, they could potentially take the map, and LFZ has to prove themselves now.
Yeah, and I'm not sure about the statistics on this, but I'm 99% sure this might be the first time that a team has taken them all the way to 3rd point for Lucky Future's Zenith. So this isn't a position they're very comfortable with as of right now. It looks like they're going to be sticking to this triple tank combo with the Orisa, Hog, and D.Va. It's going to be on the same for the other side, both solo healing Mercies and the Widows. So let's see which sniper duel is going to come out on top.
Yeah, double sniper to the summer 2018. Name a better duo. Really, right now, 3 points for T1w, and they're trying to hold on with the double sniper. Lucky Future's trying to do the same thing, poke through, and both teams running the Orisa Hog. In fact, both teams are running the exact same composition, so now just gonna be a better of, who can execute it better. And so far, Silver 3 finds the kill onto Marble, losing that one shield they had to push through the choke points. So I think Lucky Future's they're just gonna reset, and now they have to. Oh, DM though. Oh, DM gets the kill on Mono Run. They get the res, but nice pick off there by DM.
Yeah, great job from DM there to get that pick, and now he can play a little bit more aggressive here. And it looks like they're going to commit the Valve to this as well, both teams. So they're definitely just going in right now for this next fight. The Dragon Strike comes out from both teams as well. Both ultimates are just everywhere coming out, Raptor.
Yeah, dueling Dragon Strikes right there. Look, at least Monoron got theirs just dueling right through the point. The Verster used theirs just beforehand. Not the best timing, but we'll take it. Now 99% here. Crystal's about to get in for strike, immediately pops it. Both the rest of the team will be able to get their ultimates as well, and they can see past those corners. They see that Marvel just gets picked off. They see that the Roadhog is chilling there for IDK. They be careful though. IDK is about to get Whole Hog, might let it loose, and that might dislodge Lucky Future's there off the point, but it looks like they're gonna get right back in. Wyatt did get cut down. IDK puts down that shot. IDK no longer has the Whole Hog ready to go. Crystal finds one on DM, and another shutdown by T1w Esports. The Lucky Future's Zenith are 2 minutes away from potentially dropping their first match.
This is such great coordination from the Roadhog and the Orisa here for T1w Esports. I've seen their halt hook combos are just so crisp and clean right here. They're getting most of them. Even at the start of most fights, they're getting those picks that they need. The shield breaking is also on point. Target selection here and the comms from T1w just absolutely huge. Wow, I don't know how the Orisa got that far. She
Tony Hawk Pro Skater right out here. Jesus, Silver 3 trying to get all those VHS tapes. And now staying alive somehow. A big aggressive push. Silver 3 coordinating off of that and then some. Pushing Lucky Future's there to 1 minute and 30 seconds here. Just a few ultimates, but not even a single tick on point A.
Yeah, and look at the ultimates though for T1w. They have so many to their name. They have the bongos, they have the infrared sight, Dragon Strike as well, and they have the Mercy Valkyrie in case they need it. So this is a great job from them as T1 Silver gets 3, gets really low, and then Silver Strike's gonna come out right now.
Oh, will they be able to get anything off that self-destruct? I don't think anything came from it. Michelle trying to find something in the back line. Wyo got picked up. Oh, Mole on run. Just when it seems like Lucky Future Zenith has a means to get through the choke point, they get stopped every time, losing a sniper. Forced to use ultimates that doesn't get them anywhere. Oh, Urster, okay.
Urster.
Nice. Great strafe shot there onto Crystal, and now T1w Esports on against the ropes. Michelle kills Silver 3. IDK hooking and putting some shots down on the remainder on the point.
Urster.
Another one, Urster with a great strafe shot. And that should be at 40 seconds into this, or remaining here, Kenobi. Point A looks like it's finally going to be taken by Lucky Future Zenith as they snowball off some great sniper shots by Urster, who gets another one just for good measure. Crystal goes down, and point A is taken by LFC.
Yeah, Urster there at the end getting the picks that they needed to push that point. And, at that point, that's the momentum, Hans, that we talked about earlier. Getting those kills and you're feeling yourself a little bit, getting those nice shots. Looks like Urster might be switching here to some else. Switching to Genji. Okay, so Genji Widow, classic Chinese contenders right here. Classic Lucky Future Zenith is Urster, as we know, a great Genji in his own right.
And this is, I think, just a setup DM. We know how volatile DM is. All right.
Oh, what a shot.
As I was saying, what an absolutely immaculate Widowmaker shot. You gotta hit those. Nice textbook Widowmaker right there, but when you've got the fundamentals down like that, they can do even more. And look at this, Lucky Future's done 4 kills in a row, a 6v2 situation. T1w forced to reset. They have no choice in the matter. And like I was saying, Urster will be able to cut off a lot of these sightlines and harass these snipers. And you can see now Mullen Run has switched over to the breeze, so no more double sniper, just like that for T1w.
Yeah, and Crystal's gonna have such a hard time here because he has 4 targets that can dive onto him right now, and he has to deal with DM on the counter Widow as well, as IDK is gonna be in the back here. Almost gets comboed, but the heal is there, and it looks like, it's just falling apart right now for T1w. They're just losing a lot of players at the moment.
And this is so good for Lucky Future Zen because they're able to stagger T1w. T1w really doesn't have an opportunity to get a clean fight and put their foot in the doorway and start, changing the momentum. Lucky Future Zenith is continually staggering them. Look at this. T1w trying to stagger Lucky Future Zenith a little bit here, but so far, Lucky Future Zenith has been able to get one individual kill after another. Things finally have simmered down, though, at least fortunately for T1w. But for the moment, Lucky Future Zenith still has the payload moving here, Kenobi. And here comes Urster going into the back line. Gets booped back just a little bit, but it doesn't delay him long enough to get Illusion. Gets that one. Has the Diva in his grill. Has to back off. Sees the Bree. Forced to dive back. And only gets one off the blade. The Lucky Future Zenith trying not to hesitate. Goes right in. And they're paying for it a little bit by losing Lucid. But Urster and IDK still keeping the team on their back. With Marvel separating the tank line from the DPS thanks to that Primal Rage, allowing the DPS of his team, Urster DM, to pop off on the rest of the squad. Marvel also gets the DMAC and the kill. A nice 2-1 punch there. Urster and DM popping off his DPS, and Marvel with the Winston play, keeping everyone else at bay. Michelle also distracting this Primal Rage in Silver 3. Now, is it enough for T1w to continue sustaining? It might be, as the rest of the defense has to close their spawn and get right into it. It looks like they're still able to hold off LFC.
Oh, and this is the worst place probably for Lucky Future Zenith to get held here. The respawns are so much closer for the side of T1w at this point of the map, so they're gonna have to walk very far away for Lucky Future Zenith, but T1w, they're right there at the door, so they were able to stop it with those respawns coming back in, and Crystal here in the backline gonna try and farm up that pulse bomb again.
LFC, this is crucial. 5 seconds remaining. T1w, they might take the first map here. They might be able to do it. LFC, there's no one there. Overtime, ticking away. Marvel gets cut down, though. Here's a lash that's ever self-destruct. It catches Illusion, and now Urster has to do it. Oh, he gets stunned. He gets to go back in. He's reflecting. He dives in. More slashes. 40 HP. 0 HP. There's no one there. Lucky Future Zenith still in overtime somehow, but T1w has the advantage. They get some more krills. Crystal and Silver 3 get it, and finally, Lucky Future Zenith have lost their first map in Contenders China Season 2 of 2018. Their first map loss. T1w have tied up the set 1-1. Kenobi, what a fantastic map from T1w.
What a great map from T1w. They shake and they take the mystique away from Lucky Future Zenith. They are not undefeated anymore. And now they're tied in map score between both of the teams, which is very important as well, going into, that edge that Blank talked about on the desk, that mental edge. And T1w finally gets the monkey off their back and is able to take down Lucky Future Zenith, undefeated no more, as I said. And man, looks like we have a series on our hand, Rapture.
Absolutely. And now we found out that Lucky Future Zenith are immortals. They can bleed. How much more will they against T1w? We're going to find out. But first, back to the desk to see what they have to say about those two maps.
Thanks, Rapture, and great cast on the day. Also with Kenobi too. Well, we are back again. We're feeling kind of some deja vu, but I know it's not the same because we got Blank here on the desk with us. But it's very similar to what we saw in the last series, where we were coming in with the kind of the favorites for the in terms of the team to be up 2-0 like what we would expect, but we were in fact at 1-1 with a stronger team. So let's go back and just talk about Lijiang Tower, because I think this is a very convincing win for LFZ. So Blank, going to you. One of the things we talked about during this break, retake macro play. Talk us through that.
Yeah. So I mean, I'll cut you off a little bit. I'm sorry, Moosh, but you see this, and both times on, I believe it was on, we start on Control Center and we go over to Gardens. They both seem pretty close, 99, 99, so to speak. These were not close at all. Like the retake value that LFZ are finding, like when they know they're going to lose fight, they go in, they take the ultimates away from T1w, and then they come back with a fresh bank of their own and they retake. A lot of the times I could see when this is determined before, like the first fight had even finished. We saw particularly on Gardens, it was up to Molan to remain on. So they win the first point with the Sombra, and that doesn't often happen. A Sombra, it's very difficult to take your first point, and then you remain on point. You keep on building up ultimate charge, and they had the Brigida as well to stay on point as long as possible, extend it out, get the EMP, and then take off that. LFC, they pull back, they don't give any more charge to the Sombra, and then they retake convincingly, make it clean, make it look nice, and after that, they just hold on to the point.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the more, I guess, the bigger macro plays coming out across the board, to your point, Blank, especially what sets these two teams apart, in fact, is when the enemy team of T1w came in exhausting 3 to almost 4 ultimates just to get onto the point. I believe that that's just the go-ahead and green light from LFC to pull back, take the deaths, respawn, regroup, and go ahead and use just maybe even 2 ultimates to get back onto the point themselves and convincingly set the control meter back in their favor. It was very impressive stuff.
Yeah, they took those when it mattered. And I mean, as much as we're joking about we take those, it is a theme we're seeing today, where we're seeing, I mean, honestly, one of the things that we talk about when it's Chinese contenders or just Chinese Overwatch in general, is that these teams will just go pedal to the metal. They'll commit ultimates when they like in other metas, that would just be foolish to do so. But since they all commit to it, they make it work. But we're seeing a lot more reservation here. And that is why T1w is at the situation to where they're 1-1 versus this squad that looks so convincing against them in the first map. So going on to Eichenwald, kind of an interesting turn of events. Again, T1w just looked like they were being outsmarted. They were not, taking the losses when they should have, maybe overextending when they shouldn't have. But what did we see that was different here, Panda, for what turned the tides? Because T1w, they had a great push. They finished all the way, but LFZ, they couldn't even come up to point B.
I think LFZ kind of they kind of outplayed themselves in a manner of speaking, right? By having IDK not on a secondary support, typically where you would see a Zenyatta, especially on their attack there where they came up so short. IDK was on the Tracer, and although it is fantastic play coming through, big shout out to you, London Spitfire, and we'll see you at the grand finals. But it's one of those things when you're comparing Badoshin to IDK, for sure, both very good at Tracer, but you can't replicate a pulse bomb for a Transcendence. You can't replicate a blink for a Discord orb. I mean, that is so much damage that is just gone from the rest of the team fight for everybody else on your team to take advantage of. Not only does it help out your tanks with their ultimate charge, it also helps out with positioning as well. It'll take away a lot of pressure from the tanks and your other healer as well. And especially when you're solo healing as Mercy, once you lose that one healer, and conclusively, you are more than likely going to lose that team fight. And a lot of ult charge will be heavily in the favor for the team that came out on top, this time being T1w. However, it did look good for a certain amount of time. IDK made a strong showcase on the Roadhog, but it just wasn't enough. By the time you swap and it's a little minor too late to that secondary healer, you're not going to have an ult economy to play along and to counter that Transcendence along with a big DPS ultimate or, say, a Graviton Surge.
Yeah, and I think, so Blaine, going to you, building off of that, I think one thing you said during our time watching the game was that they're resting on their laurels. So talk me through, where did you exactly see that and how did it backfire on them?
Like, this is a point that I really like, and some that I'd like to develop a bit more. Yeah, definitely is that. So we see second tag. So this is Lucky Future Zenith's turn to go on the offensive, and they're having difficulty with T1w. T1w pulls out the Roadhog, they pull out the Orisa, and they start playing a lot more cohesively. They put down the hammer, they put down the wall, and tell Lucky Future Zenith, you got to work for this one. If you really want point A, you've got to work for it. Lucky Future Zenith in this case, they start to, like Mishu said, is they rest on their laurels. They start ignoring set plays, which were so dominant in their Li Jiang game, and a lot of their plays were impressive. So we saw the Diva Bombs were being set up by Eddie K with the shield break on top of that. And again, 30 seconds before they lose point A, they pull it out again. So they see Orisa, so they see Marvel drop down, I believe it was Silver, drop down the shield. Immediately they break it. They force Silver to drop down another shield. Once that's gone, they throw in the Diva Bomb, and they win off that because they allow their DPSs to flank effectively and efficiently. We move into Streets, and we completely lose sight again of these set plays, and we go back to mechanical skill and try and just bash our heads against T1w Esports wall, and going head to head with these guys. T1w Esports seem a lot more composed. They seem a lot more calm.
Absolutely.
And they take Iconvolt off them.
Yeah, I mean, bashing your head against a brick wall of Viking Wall is not exactly a safe place to be, and it's not exactly a comfortable scenario. But I'm glad that you brought
concrete.
up. Yeah, I mean, it held up against the Battle of the Omnics versus Reinhardt, for goodness sakes.
Right.
It's got to be tough on that bridge, not to mention Jamerson Junkrat as well. But one thing that I'm glad that you brought up was that micro play. Silver actually had one of the best plays I've ever seen in my life, coming in, jumping in front of the McCree's face, eating the entire Deadeye with his Primal Rage, and then just being like, all right, thanks, man, peace. And then just jumps back to his team, and then just continued on the push. I mean, that is the most heads-up play. Typically, you'll see a Diva go in there with a defense matrix. Very hard to time that 2-second delay. But when you just say, all right, well, I'm just gonna go ahead and go Super Saiyan and just eat all of your bullets anyway, and just we take those. We take those.
Yes. Okay. Full circle now. Yeah, like it's almost like the quick draw there too, right? Instead of the draw of the McCree, it's about you're pressing your Q to get that extra HP. So really quickly, guys, let's do this. 3. Where's it going? We're gonna do, this might be my theme here. Blank, we're gonna go to you first. Volskaya Industries comes up next. LFZ, what do they need to do in 3 words?
LFZ, 3 words. Okay. Take set plays.
Ooh,
You
this.
gotta have it. You gotta have it on Volskaya. This is a map where you cannot slip up. I mean, it's icy on the floor, but again, the point stands. Please don't slip up here. Don't just throw your head against them. It's not going to work. T1w, they're not like the other guys in the group at the moment. They're at the top. You cannot underestimate them.
All right, and Panda, real quick, 3 words here for either side.
Combine your ults.
I'll combine your ults. There we go, guys. All right, we're going to throw it back to the casters, going back to Kenobi and Rapture. Guys, we'll see you after the end of the game.
Thanks, Moosh. Welcome back, everyone. It is 1-1 between these two teams, Lucky Future Zenith and T1w Esports Club. I am Rapture here with Kenobi, bringing you the 3rd map on Volskaya, and it is 1-1. So this will be pretty big. We could see either another 5-map situation, which I would love. We saw a great set previous. We might get another one again here. Going into this one, Kenobi, it is interesting to note, of course, Lucky Future Zenith has still 100% win rate on this. They've won every map except the one previous on Iconvolt, whereas T1w Esports Club, the only map that they dropped previous to the set was on Assault. So that might have something to do with how we go into this next map.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see, how Lucky Future Zenith. This is the first time they've been in a position like this where they lost that first map. They haven't lost before, so it's gonna be interesting to see how they're gonna be able to take this, if they can take it on the chin and regroup and make some good plays, makes those set plays like Mike was talking about on the desk. But that's a really good set play right there as they get Mulan run right off the bat.
I will have to say though, that's definitely a great problem to have, the fact that we just now lost our first map. Lucky Futures that it's still in control really in the season. Can T1w Esports show some dominance, be the alphas in this set, and come out on top. So far, they are on defense first. They're trying to keep Lucky Future Zenith from taking an early point A, but it's really on DM. They got to deal with this one first. They got to have an answer for this Widowmaker. DM just getting unmitigated shots until finally the Orisa Silver 3 putting some attention towards them. And now they got to turn around because there's a bunch of players in their back line. Urster and Michelle clean them up, and just like that, T1w Esports is annihilated.
Yeah, and I bet Blank is smiling a little bit on the desk right now talking about those set plays. That was a really good better set plays coming out from Lucky Future Zenith. The dives were a lot cleaner. Urster and Marvel seemed to be working out a lot better, and they got the blow up on the Moline Run almost instantly. So that was a really good job getting that DPS out of the way at the start, and now they'll look to probably get this second point.
Yeah, and Kenobi, we gotta wonder what LFZ, how quickly they can take this. With Urster on the blade, they have two support ultimates as well. Kenobi, I'm not sure if they can hold on against Urster's blade. Let's see.
Oh,
Fallen Run threw down a Dragon Strike, but pays the ultimate price. Goes down. Urster can't kill Widowmaker with the blade. Has to just do it the old-fashioned way. Crystal goes down. That's a 2-0. For Urster. Now they're going to continue to push up, forced to go into the corner as there's a self-destruct, but it doesn't connect on anybody as everyone took cover just in time. Urster now looking for the Mercy, dives in, helps out DM, who picks up 2 Illusion, and Waya going down. Now he's just looking for more, looking for the Tracer, who ducks and dives.
Oh, DM.
After this score, but DM finds Crystal nonetheless. Lucky Future Zenith just riding the wave, this torrential storm thrown in by DM, who just won't stop. As Urster finds everyone that DM hasn't been finding. It's literally just those 2 DPS finding every single kill on T1w Esports as they filter in onto the point. And here's Urster throwing in Marvel with the Primal Rage, just popped, trying to dislodge his Bree, keep him off the point, and DM picks up the kill. Point B almost taken here. Lucky Future Zenith might be able to do it over 5 minutes. T1w Esports, then to get this defense in here, Kenobi, there's nowhere to be found. Everyone that's alive, they get skewered by Urster and Marvel, and that's just it. T1w obliterated here by LFZ. 2 points, 2 points taken, 2 points on the board, and over 5 minutes remaining on the clock.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like they're too affected by that loss, Raptor. They seem to be pretty, still confident in their play. They're getting, 5.5 minutes basically. Still a very, very good time. That means you rolled basically both points in basically 2 minutes or 1.5 minutes if you're being picky. And at the end of the fight there, it's kind of just like it devolves. Once you win that first little battle, it's very hard for you to get onto DM in the backline, and that point it's just a shooting gallery for him. And as we saw, if you leave DM unattended in the backline, he's just gonna pop your heads, and that's gonna be the end of the fight. So great job from Lucky Future Zenith there, understanding we have the ability to roll this point. We are good enough to do so. So interesting to see what T1w is going to be bringing out on this offense. But on defense, it looks like LFZ is going to be bringing out some. Oh, it's going to be bringing out Widow, I think. So Widow Fair. This is actually going to go through. No, it's not. I got baited.
Yeah, Marvel quickly changes. Urster and DM still chilling on theirs, but right now it's probably easier said than done to get rid of DM. Like Lucky Future's in it. They've been doing this throughout the season. Really, is playing that really strong, like 2 theaters of war kind of game. We saw that in the previous set too, being played there by LGD Gaming, doing that where they'll have their Widowmaker on one side, they'll push into the back line with their tanks, and they force their shields to pick a side. Like either you put your shield down to cover your back line, or you put your shield down to cover the Widowmaker on the front line. So Lucky Future Zenith using that, the Widowmaker on DM and the rest of the team to flank behind to dislodge T1w Esports off point A, and then they kind of just steamrolled from there. Also very smart plays. The game sense in LFC is really great because they're always in position to take cover if there's like a self-destruct. Like they're never overcommitted to a lot of their cooldowns. So right now they're playing, all cylinders are firing. T1w Esports though, they're not out of it, but can they post as good of a defense build?
Yeah, and it looks like from Lucky Future we're gonna be seeing, or from T1w rather, we're gonna be seeing a full dive offense coming out from them. And then on the other side we're gonna be seeing Pharah Widow. So DM on this Widow again, gonna try, but Michelle gets the huge pick on the Moline Run at the start, and Brigitte, as we know, if played correctly, can be a huge counter to that dive.
And LFZ relinquishing back to that inner room there, as long as the Pharah has to fall back, a lot of damage done to them. Unhappy, finds Marvel. Now the defense, Lucky Future Zenith, just kind of individually separated one by one here. LFZ might be able to get back into this with the help of Urster, but they're getting shut down by those tanks. They're putting a ton of pressure on. They get rid of Lucid. Can Lucky Future Zenith survive without their Mercy? I don't believe they can. T1w forcing them back, and LFZ really have very little footing on the point, and now none at all. T1w Esports, if not more swiftly than LFZ, take point A.
Yeah, it didn't look like too good of a start to the fight as Molan went down to the Brigitte almost immediately, but then the rest of the die was able to come in from T1w Esports as they were able to, dive in free for all with Michelle not having that shield bash. So great job from them. And now they're going to look, they have 6.5 minutes basically here, so they're going to look to try and maybe get a quicker time than Lucky Future Zenith here.
I would hope so. I think generally that's what you'd like to do if you have a higher time bank. But look at this. DM says no. Like, psych, I'm going to take care of your Lucio, so no speed boostings for you. It seems some revenge can be put on by Molan, who's harassing the back line with the Tracer, but DM not only has the proactivity to get out of position, or get in position to deal with it, but the Bree also helping out, so Molan just going to reset. No point in wasting time or feeding more ult charge.
Yeah, they need to back up it just a little bit here. Don't feed any more ultimates. The DM here, just reset. You have a lot of time. You might not get the same time as Lucky Future Zenith, but if you can get that time, it's going to be good for you. And 6 minutes, still a pretty good amount of time that they have, and ultimates as well on their side, close to basically a 6-pack on them.
Ooh, Erster hanging around on the barrage, and for right now, they have more than enough means to deal with T1w as they move through the choke point. The DM has that Widowmaker just popped in for sights. They can see him coming around. Erster has Barrage. Marvel's about to get Primal Rage. There's so much here. Oh, and look at that. Molan, the second they go for the flank, DM is waiting for them with a shot because they know they can see him coming with the info sight. Great play there. And then DM finds Illusion. Lucky Future Zenith. It feels like they have 8 players on the team because DM is doing the job of 3 right now. This is so crazy for them. Erster still on the barrage, hanging out, trying not to use it. It's worth. Unhappy also resets. Lucky Future Zenith going to get the rest of T1w to reset, and they didn't get a single tick. So now LFZ with the time lead and still holding on to point B.
Yeah, unfortunately, Molan being a little bit too aggro on that Tracer, forcing recall almost immediately as the had sights up still. And then when you're forced on that recall as Tracer, and then there's a Brigitte on the other side, it's going to be very difficult for you to live. So unfortunately, they weren't able to get the dive that they wanted into the point. And Lucky Future Zenith, now look at them with their ultimate economy. They have some ults to their name as well, as DM is going to have his infrared sights.
Yeah, and DM literally just used it too. So look at DM constantly keeps sights on T1w Esports so they can't flank. They can't surprise anyone. They know when they're turning around the corner. And then DM gets the kills too. So much utility coming out right there. T1w knows where Molan's going to be. Now waiting for the res. Tries to get rid of Illusion as they get the Bree back in. But now Lucky Future Zenith against the ropes as they lose Lucid to Silver 3's Primal Raging Winston. Crystal diving away, slicing and dicing. A barrage also coming up, but Ursa's only able to get one. He's 2 up high in the air. Marvel finds why they'll pick up the slack. T1w Esports straggling back up onto the point. They need to keep enough numbers on the line to really seal the deal, and it looks like they will find that. Crystal and Unhappy combining for 3 kills. Silver 3 also keeping the remainder of Lucky Future Zenith off the point, so they have to fall back or die. And now 4 minutes remaining, but T1w Esports are about 1/3 of the way there. It looks like they should be able to keep Lucky Future Zenith at bay, but how long can this sustain before the defense gets the reinforcements in?
Yeah, it looks like they're just going to back out here. Unfortunately, the respawns were just too in the favor of Lucky Future Zenith there, and the picks just weren't coming in for T1w Esports. They didn't even get a tick on that, but they did pull a lot of ultimates out of Lucky Future there, so that's good for them. No support ults, IDK going to switch over to the Zenyatta, and it looks like they're going to rally in here for this next fight. They have both support ultimates for them as well, and Crystal very close to that Dragon Blade.
Yeah, that's definitely something that Lucky Future Zenith needs to worry about here. And Y also has the Transcendence too. IDK doesn't have a Transcendence, so not only will the Transcendence, how about T1w, but the Blade won't have to worry about one from IDK. We'll see how that works out. Lucky Future Zenith already losing by. It's a 6v4 advantage for T1w. Crystal has the Blade to make sure that the odds continue to tip in their favor, but they don't even need to burn it. Still though, point B hasn't been any closer to being taken here. We still don't even have the first tick. T1w Esports though finally does get it. Lucky Future Zenith, their defense has been slaughtered here. Will they be able to get back on? Here's the Winston, dives up onto the point, is discorded, gets caught out, 2/3 taken. Here's the Blade from Crystal, waiting as long as possible for the reinforcements to re-engage by Lucky Future Zenith, and the timing is perfect. Crystal throws it down, IDK nowhere near close to a Transcendence. Point B about to be taken. T1w Esports finally clinches it, and there it is. There is a big time gap, but it's better than nothing. Another 2 points marked down on the board, and it's now a 2-2 game here on Volskaya for both of these teams.
And as you know, Volskaya, one of those maps where anything can happen. And, definitely it's good that they have 2 minutes and 2.5 minutes, better than no minutes at all, because then, your win condition is basically cut in half right there. So really good job for them to finally get that point, stay a little bit calm. They didn't get tilted by how long they had to stall and how long they had to wait. So good job from them. And it looks like we're going to be seeing, T1w go back on the attack again. Maybe they'll stick with this, full dive that we've been seeing so far. But it looks like Lucky Future Zenith going to stick to what, they had on their first point. They're going to stick to this, Pharah, Widow, divey type of composition. 1.5 tank, as I like to call it, because Brigitte, not really a support, not really an off tank. She's just everything. So 1.5 tank.
Yeah, that works. Works for me. Kind of a little bit of here, a little bit of there. Definitely, it's one of those characters that has a lot of.
She's a support, by the way.
There's a lot of extracurriculars.
Yeah.
She's always busy after school. Lucky Future Zenith. Now with the higher time bank gonna be on defense first, and look at the time difference: 2 minutes and 36 seconds for T1w to a staggering 5 minutes and 21 seconds for Lucky Future Zenith. So really, it's more of a war of attrition here. Lucky Future Zenith can afford to lose point A because they know T1w won't have a lot of time to contest point B, and Lucky Future Zenith has a lot of time on their end to contest both points. So right here, it's more about how long can they deter T1w on point B. But really, they're already getting the job going. Erster gets a nice take on Molanron to start things off first blood on point A here on the second attempt for T1w, who've already been reduced to 2 minutes and 20 seconds. And in the world of Overwatch, that may not be enough to take point A, especially against a player like DM or Erster, who right now are already on fire. Not literally, but they might be literally in just a moment.
I mean, maybe not on this map because it's pretty cold, but what else is cold is going to be the bodies that they're in the grave for Lucky Future Zenith. I mean, they're just doing so much damage here. And unfortunately, since T1w doesn't have that Mercy, they don't have the res potential. They're running just the full dive combo with Lucio, Zen, but they're doing a great job for Lucky Future Zenith. It's kind of downloaded complete right now, it feels like, because Michelle is just in the backline stunning the dive tanks and dive DPS. And it looks like T1w going to be switching over to their own Brigitte and their own Widow. So we'll see how this is going to be able to work for them.
I like this. I think T1w is trying to just win the ground battle, knowing that both Erster and DM can't put literal bodies on the points. They figure, all right, if we look at it ground-wise, it's a 5v4 situation. As long as we can beat out the ground war and not die to DM and Erster, this might work out for us. So why not run the Bree to try and bolster up their ranks? And there we go. Molanron finds Marvel, so they're already winning that ground battle. But just like that, DM cuts down the Bree and then finds Maya. Just too strong. And then Erster gets two. Literally the two players you had to try and beat everyone else up before they killed you got to you first. DM and Erster combining for a ton of kills there, and T1w Esports now reduced to under a minute.
Yeah, under a minute, and they didn't even get that much ult charge from that last push. Unhappy, the only one who's relative to an ultimate there, and they only have 49 seconds left. That's maybe 1 or 2 fights if you're being gracious here. So this is really, do or die for him. No ultimates on either side. It's just vanilla Overwatch all the way through Rapture.
It really is. No sprinkles needed, no add-ons. Just trying to be nice and original. Michelle, D-Mex unhappy. Marvel trying to get in the grill, knowing that if they can get another kill or two here, that pretty much stops T1w's fight. But the problem is they might even get a stagger. And look at that, Crystal gets staggered. They also have the Winston still alive. Silver 3 needs to get back. They're desperate to have these tanks still alive. If Erster could get the kill, that would have been huge. But there's somehow that Monkey's able to get back. The Silverback Gorilla able to rejoin the squad. But now, 5 seconds remaining. T1w, someone has to come and touch the point. Is there anyone there that can do so? It's Lucky Future Zenith that's pushed them too far off the point. Overtime does tick away, but who's there to keep it alive? It's the Silver 3 to try and put some pressure on the far, but they're bolstered by the Mercy. There's the Diva 2 by Unhappy. Marvel finds Crystal. Michelle concusses Silver 3 with a shield bash. Lucky Future Zenith with a 6v3 advantage, and there's nowhere left for T1w to go. There it is. There's the full hold. And Volskaya looks like it might go the way of LFC, as they just need to capture point A, and that'll be it.
Yeah, point A with 5.5 minutes, Rapture. That's a tall task to ask from T1w to try and get through this last point here. And, it was a little bit of download complete. They ran the same thing that they ran on their first attack on A, and it seems like LFZ were just completely ready for it. So great job from them, understanding that, they're probably going to run this again since they rolled us basically the first point. So good job from them. And it looks like, on defense, we're going to be seeing double sniper here. And this, Arista Diva defense, which we see quite often here. It's, it's good to cover the high ground. It's good to cover the low ground. You have some mobility with the Diva. And then you have, Crystal has been playing pretty well on this Widow so far, even beating, DM sometimes in the Widow battle. So like what I'm seeing from them, and it's going to be interesting to see how this double sniper works. I mean, it's going to depend on them getting picks, and that's really what you need to kind of stall this out, because you have to stall out for 5.5 minutes, Raptor.
Well, I think that's the problem, and that's why we're seeing Lucky Future Zenith potentially run the Junkrat and the Lucio, is that they're going to rush on the point and not give the snipers any chance to get picked. It'll be so hard for them with these really mobile players moving through and DM throwing down spam damage. They can't hold sightlines as well. I think the Widowmaker and the Hanzo from T1w Esports might not be expecting Lucky Future Zenith to rush the point, whereas LFZ probably is expecting the double sniper from T1w as they ran it before. So, they're going to change over. I thought there might be a rush. They still might go for it because, again, that Genji still gives them an opportunity to cut down the sightlines from Widowmaker and Hanzo. We'll see. Lucky Futures then, though, going to try and take an easy flank over to the left. They're using both the Genji and the Widowmaker to draw some of the front line away.
Oh
yeah, but
my
DM
God.
picks up Mullen Run, even though they trade off the airs. Oh! He was trying to jump back, but his hook didn't actually grab the corner. DM dies. And so Lucky Futures in it, their attempts at this offensive push are already out the window, Kenobi.
You know, what a read there from Waiwa and, you know, Molanran there going to the right side, knowing that they might flank around to that side, to that right side next to the pond there, and they were able to get the kills. You know, DM got that nice shot onto Molanran, but, you know, there's a Brigitte there, and you don't want to be face-to-face with the Brigitte if you're a squishy, so great job from them. And, you know, LFZ, you know, kind of understanding we have, you know, 4.5 more minutes. We can, you know, play around a little bit more and play patiently. So they're just going to, you know, play safe, make sure that they wait for the right opening to go in.
And they're also going for that double, the multi-faceted push here, using Marvel to try and put some pressure on the front line towards the right, but also helping facilitate the rest of the team to make a right side rotation. And they're going to do just that, trying to put Esports Club on the high ground the other side so they can do a high ground versus high ground push and fight here. Crystal, though, falling all the way back, looking for some picks, but it's Michelle who finds Waya. 6v5 advantage for Lucky Futures at it. Let's see if they push up onto that. DM looking for another angle on this Orisa as the Hanzo goes down from Michelle, who just shoulder checks them into the ground. Illusion gets the res, but Michelle's waiting right there for them. Great self-destruct, though, from Unhappy to try and cover the Mercy, but DM picks them all from long range, so it outdoes the self-destruct. And here's Erster for good measure. This should be it for T1w Esports. If they have anything to respond with this blade, Erster might be able to get away from these kills and get out of across county lines with those kills under their belt. It looks like they will. Lucky Futures Zenith now up 2-1 in the set after a convincing victory here on Volskaya. Kenobi, Lucky Futures Zenith one more map away from taking the set.
Yeah, and Lucky Futures Zenith, you know, maybe the beast has been awoken in them. You know, we just lost. We're going to, you know, really put our pedal to the metal. We're going to stomp you. So great job from them. And, you know, 5.5 minutes is such a, you know, it's such a wall to climb as like a defense, especially for just one tick, especially if you didn't get anything on that first point. They tried their best. They managed to stall for about 2 minutes there. It's just such a tall task, especially when the ults start coming out and the picks in like one pick is just basically a death sentence for you on defense there. So especially with the pick composition that was kind of coming out from, you know, from Lucky Future Zenith there, it's just really unfortunate for them that they took that long to, you know, get that point.
Well, Lucky Future Zenith now are set themselves up for success, up 2-1 in these maps. T1w has shown that they can take a loss, but will they be able to do more than that? We'll find out on the other side of this break. Map 4, don't go anywhere. More Overwatch Contenders China English broadcast brought to you by Broadcast.gg. Coming back in just a moment.
Got your hands on me. Every time we touch, there's a sense of urgency. Yeah, you wind me up. Oh, baby. all this time thinking of me. How come you're not there when you got me? I know that you're busy, so make the time. If you want this with me, do me right. I could be somewhere else, but I'd rather be with you. And that's what I call time well spent. So what do you call it when you're with me? Is it time well spent? So what do you call it when you're with me? Is it time well spent? You took all this time thinking you'd be playing on my mind like you should be. You know when you miss me, I'm hard to find. So when you are with me, love me blind. I could be somewhere else, but I'd rather be with you. And that's what I call time well spent. So what do you call it when you're with me? Is it time well spent? So what do you call it when you're with me? Is it time well spent? So what do you call it when you're with me? Oh, is it time well spent? So what do you call it when you're with me? Is it time well
Welcome back, Overwatchers, to our match of the day between Lucky Future Zenith and T1w Esports Club. I am Rapture, here with Kenobi, bringing you the Overwatch China Contenders English broadcast, brought to you by Broadcast.gg. And it is the fourth map of the set. 2-1 lead here for Lucky Future Zenith as we walk into Watch Point Gibraltar. Kenobi, this is make or break for T1w Esports. If they drop this map, they lose the set, and they'll be taking their first set loss of the season. While Lucky Future Zenith, they've dropped the map, but they are still undefeated in sets, and they want to maintain that record.
Yeah, this is match point for Lucky Future Zenith here. I mean, they have the ability to close this out, keep their perfect quote unquote record, because now they lost one map, but they have a perfect match winning record. So this can definitely be their last map. They are very close to doing this, and they're very close to winning this. And after the way the last game went on Volskaya, they seemed pretty convincing there. So maybe they'll continue that momentum to this map in Gibraltar.
Yeah, this is right now where Lucky Future Zenith, we're in the blue now, going to be on defense first, want to end things. This might not even be the last map here, Kenobi. We might be counting our chickens before they hatch, right? Like, we could be going back to control. We'll see. It's up to T1w Esports to make that decision for themselves. And Lucky Future Zenith, it almost feels like it's their map to lose. They have a lot riding on this to keep their perfect record intact. So does T1w Esports, though. This is right now the tale of two giants here. Which team will come out on top? We might even see these guys, all these players at the end of playoffs. This could be right now kind of a sign of things to come. And we'll see T1w on map 4 on the first attempt that is, and DM gets one tap in the head by Crystal.
Yeah, DM, they're getting the first pick onto Crystal. That's pretty huge. It's gonna be rezzed up, but that is a lot of time that they have to wait, for that res to come through. The payload is pushing just with one person on it, but now DM is in the head of Crystal just a little bit, as Ursa's gonna try and contest the point here.
Yeah, this is where Ursa now wants to try and put some pressure on the Gorilla. Silver 3 is still moving now up towards the front line here, and they're just going to fall right back at the future Zenith. Gets another kill with the help of DM, so Waya, where you at?
Oh, DM.
Getting Illusion, sees right through you, and DM just picking them off, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. T1w, nowhere to be found.
Yeah, DM sliding into the DMs of T1w here, taking away all of their heads and just taking them for himself. And, you know, it's Crystal here has to just be a little bit more aware of where DM is at this point, or they need to get some help from T1w, from the tank line of T1w here, because right now Crystal getting out-dueled just a little bit.
DM is just, like I said earlier, playing like multiple players right there. T1, or the amount of multiple players. T1w has to worry about DM. Like, put so much attention, so many resources. They have to devote so many of them to taking care of DM. Otherwise, he's just going to run rampant on the entirety of T1w Esports Club. And it's no good for right here. They have to just constantly keep their eyes on DM. DM does take a shot back, has to fall back. Crystal looking for the right side through server room, trying to get some picks off here. Crystal is going to get pushed up upon by Marvel, who has Primal Rage. Should be able to commit that, and does, try and get out of harm's way. Crystal taking a shot to the body there from DM, who had in for sight. Another shot there, keeping Crystal at bay. DM finds Waya. Meanwhile, Marvel charging in with the Primal Rage. Illusion gets the res, but still looking for the breach, trying to keep things in their favor. Lucky Future's dead, looking for some kills in the high ground, but Crystal finds DM, finally winning that bout. And now it can be up for Crystal, but IDK gets the res. Erster diving in, gets the kill on Molinon, waiting out the self-destruct for looks for kills in the back line, but has to waste the rest of the blade just to stay alive. Erster, though, trying to help out, get back into the fray as soon as possible. It's Unhappy just drives and pile drives and back right back up onto the point. And then look at that, Unhappy unloading on Lucky Future Zenith, and they are just obliterated right there. 3 minutes and 50 seconds for T1w Esports.
Yeah, you don't want to be in that small room to the left with D.Va. They're shooting all of those micro missiles at you. They're doing so much burst damage. And now T1w is pushing their advantage, getting IDK off of that point. And now they're going to be able to get a lot of space for themselves and for Crystal as well, as DM is going to sit on top of the ship here. Oh, and gets the huge shot onto Crystal. Crystal, get out of my house, says DM. You're not going to be able to hook shot on me.
And really, is that shot huge when every shot's been huge? At this point, DM is just a gargantuan when it comes to sniper shots out here. DM has really come in and kind of pulled out the stops right here. As Erster picks up another one on Unhappy, and the payload will come to a halt for the time being here. Kenobi, as both teams try and work up their ultimates.
Yeah, and I mean, we talked about it earlier, you know, how important 1v1 is, and if it's being won so decisively like it is by DM here, it's very difficult for the other Widow to get situated, right? Crystal has hit a couple of good shots, but so far it's just been DM. Even getting Crystal and then switching focus to like the supports and everything, so getting a lot of good picks. And Silver and, you know, Unhappy need to help just a little bit.
Yeah, they definitely help out with that front line here. Michelle on the D.Va self-destruct, can use that if the fight gets a little hairy. Crystal and Silver 3 pick things up, 64 advantage for T1w, about to be 63 as they find DM on top of the jet. Unhappy also gets rid of Marvel. T1w forcing LFZ back. It looks like they might be able to get the second checkpoint. LFZ should be able to recontest, but do they burn any ultimates in doing so? They have 6 ultimates in for sight, just popped there by DM. Looks like they're not going to recontest. Oh, they do get it recontest just in time, allowing Erster to go into the back line, using the blade, hiding behind cover as the startup animation had happened for Erster. Great play there. Doesn't get popped up by Crystal. Crystal now looking for the Valkyrie. Mercy decides to go after for the Zenyatta. He's about to come out of Transcendence. Another Transcendence pop. Now it's for Lucid. The kills are not coming as quickly as Lucky Future's that need them to. The Transcendence can help keep them alive. But DM loses to Illusion. Illusion put down DM. IDK forcing out the res onto the, has to use the res on DM. Keep him back in. DM, can they change things up? Can they tilt the tables back in LFC's favor? No. Crystal cuts him down. Marvel with the Primal Rage, but isn't enough. Erster, though, getting on the board. It's an even trade. Or Lucky Future's dead. They still have some ultimates. They have Michelle who can pop the self-destruct, so they should be able to hold on to the payload.
So close.
But T1w Esports still finding the kills. Erster has to get off the payload to get the one on. And now they have to rejoin with the rest of their teams. Have been killed. Their family's not alive anymore. Erster now still alive on the point. Trying to get rid of this free, but gets battered by. Has the blade, pops it at 61 HP, and gets cut down as a result. Crystal gets 1 as Erster only find Molinon. And now Crystal with 2. T1w Esports. Looks like they're finally able to shove this payload through the second checkpoint. Kenobi, there it is. 2 minutes and 30 seconds earned.
Yeah, that was a really good fight, and it looked like it was just going pretty much back and forth there. Erster had that Dragon Blade at the stopped by Molanran on this Brigitte, and Molanran having a really good game on this Brigitte and Crystal as well. You know, it looks like finally some of the tanks from T1w Esports, like Silver and Unhappy, are getting onto DM in the backline, and that's leaving Crystal open to get a lot of these good shots. So great job from them to, you know, start helping Crystal out a little bit, because he definitely needed it.
Speaking of which, DM headshots Crystal right there. Illusion forced the resin right back up. Wanted to get the kill on the Lucid, so technically T1w Esports Club does have the advantage in this fight for the moment. DM looking for some shots in the back line, holding on the back right corner here, looking for a better vantage point, trying to get a poster here, looking for the Zenyatta, waiting for the Zenyatta to trans over to the right side, but Wyatt instead stays there, gets kill on Urster. Finally, Wyatt's found up by DM. IDK gets the res. Now an advantage for Lucky Future Zenith. Silver 3, though, trying to keep the reinforcements in spawn with the Primal Rage, but has to fall back. There's a lot of damage being thrown onto him. DM still looking for the retreating members of T1w Esports Club, and they are going to fall back. Lucky Future Zenith, now this is where they get their revenge. Hold T1w Esports Club to just 2 points and not a map completion, and then win on their next push. Let's see, can they convert into that?
Yeah, it looks like your DM is going to have a lot of space to roam and, you know, to play this kind of Widow. He can fall back onto the high ground at the very back of the point, or he can stay on the low ground here and try to get a couple of picks through the archways. But here it looks like he's just going to jump up, and Crystal has to be very, very careful to not get picked by the Widow up there.
Ooh, as you say that, wow, 195 damage
Goes
dealt
down.
from DM to Crystal, then picks it up. The 1-2 punch gets the spare. And DM now just holding it down against T1w Esports Club. And look at that, Crystal does get the responding kill into DM though. All right, so T1w Esports returning fire immediately. Michelle trying to keep them alive. Ballin swinging away. Crystal, some more shots, trying to kill the evaporating mercy of IDK, but IDK smartly staying in the range of the bridge, so Crystal has their line of sight blocked off. I'm not even sure if that was intentional, but it was smart nonetheless. Subconscious genius there. Crystal with some more shots. Wire demecking Michelle. They even have the Zenyatta doing residual damage, sniping away. Here's Wire doing just that. Kills Marvel. You have these two snipers, the Zenyatta and the Crystal. Off the point itself, helps T1 usher it in. And there we go. T1w Esports will pick it up. 3 points, completing the map. Not a lot of time in the time bank, but better than nothing.
Yeah, definitely better than nothing. 10 seconds. It's very important that they did get it before that, you know, overtime mark there. You know, those 10 seconds could matter. It could be all that matters in the fight. And, you know, that last fight, if we do reset to get to that last point and get the meters that you need. But really good job there from, I like what I saw from Silver 3 and Unhappy on that last map. They started diving in a little bit more, creating some more pressure and giving some space for Crystal, not letting him get dove like he was getting constantly on those first couple of points. So really good job from them. And I really want to see, you know, that more of that. I want to see more help for Crystal, because at the first couple of points, he wasn't getting that much.
Yeah, that was at times both Widowmakers are actually kind of like
On islands.
yeah, they were kind of roller coastering a little bit, like getting a good amount of picks, then going down. I think it really does come down to like these tanks. We saw like Unhappy unloading with that Diva mini missile barrage, like getting in the face of the Widowmaker DM when necessary, or finding Lucy in the corner. Waya combining with Crystal to help out with these snipes, tenderizing a bunch of these opponents, picking up Winston kills on Marvel. So honestly, it's almost like T1w and Lucky Future Zenith obviously are building so much around the Widowmakers, but now the rest of the team is keeping up pace, is really just supplementing these two Widowmakers very, very well, setting them up for easy body shot kills. The Mercies are damage boosting them. It really does come down to which team can support the Widowmakers the most and follow up on kills that they get. And right now, T1w Esports, they're doing that, but I think Lucky Future Zenith overall was probably more successful. Look at the time they reduced T1w down to. This is an opportunity for Lucky Future Zenith to go into, if they complete the map that is, the next attempts and have a huge time lead.
So this is really interesting, this composition coming out from T1w Esports. It's Ryan, Winston, Diva with a Lucio and a Zen and Brigitte. So you don't have the Mercy. It's kind of like a Ghosty type of composition here, right? It's like you kind of, with the Winston, usually you see something like a Roadhog or something like that. But here, it's with a Winston. So maybe they have the Winston just so that they can put some more pressures onto Urster here and make sure that he's uncomfortable, because, you know, that Tesla cannon, one of Genji's biggest enemies.
Yep, that's very true. You can't reflect electricity. I mean, I guess physically, there must be a way you can. I took honors physics, but it's been a while. High school's been a while. But as far as we know, in this reality, you can't reflect electricity. So T1w Esports getting the brunt of that. Look at that. LFZ just demolishing T1w Esports. I don't even know if T1w can get back.
Yeah, and I'm really trying to figure out what this Rhine pick does for them, because it does, it can mess with the diving tanks just a little bit, but you're losing a lot of DPS. That could be something, a better DPS slot, as Moanran is going to go down, and now she's a shooting gallery. Just the amount of damage that they can pump out onto these tanks is too huge, and I would really like to see something, maybe like just something else, like just a Junkrat or something else, like the Widow. Yeah, put Crystal back on Widow. Crystal's not a Rhine player. Crystal's a Widow player. Just put him on Widow.
Yeah, that's why not? Like, Crystal's obviously shown their worth on the Widowmaker. Lucky Futures that it's still running this composition with the Widowmaker and the Genji. Right? This is their go-to for Gibraltar, and it's worked out very well. T1w Esports Club, they want some more supports. They want a little more tankiness. They want a higher health pool. So for now, it's working out for them, but just for the moment, though. Here comes Erster right there, wherever Widowmaker can't reach. Just go all the way to the back line, forces out the Transcendence from Waya, but it's not even enough to stop him from getting the kill on Crystal. Nice stun there from Moanran, picks up the shield bash kill onto Erster, and now it's Marble to seal the deal, continuing what the Genji Erster started and finishing it up, hopefully, at least for LFT. Marvel gets the Primal Rage, looking 1,000 HP there, pretty much barely going down. So he's able to have full reign of that Primal Rage as Marvel. And look at this, about 4 minutes remaining here. Kenobi and Lucky Future Zenith is about to get the second check.
Yeah, about to get the second. They're gonna use the Valk aggressively here, and it looks like Erster's, gonna be trying to poke out some damage here, trying to play that vanilla Genji, as DM is just being left uncontested right now. But Crystal's gonna get Erster there, so that's a big pick, and this fight's just gonna be going in right now for that last tick rapture.
Yeah, and Lucid is about to get Transcendence, but Moanran crushes their skull. They're Omnic Metal going down to the junkyard. And then Silver 3 finds DM. T1w Esports, a very clutch moment there. Getting these kills also finds DM early enough, forcing IDK. Yeah, that was a great play there.
I love it.
DM gets killed. IDK forced to jump up there for the res, also gets bodied, and then DM doesn't have any support to stay alive. Great play there by T1w to force out res and kill the Mercy and get a bunch of damage on LFC.
Crystal there with a little bit of tactical crouching. I love to see that. That was a really good play coming out from him. I like to see that. Always like to see that. But what's interesting here is it kind of feels like that Ryan pick was like a hustle play, right? It's like, oh, we're just gonna pick Ryan, and then Lucky Future sent us into a false sense of security. But then Crystal is just gonna pop up on Widow, go back to what he's tried and true and good at. So I really like the play coming out from them so far, and it makes you question a little bit why they didn't just play it on that first map, because Crystal has been popping off on Widow. It's very good so far.
Yeah, not sure. Erster, though, makes the change from the Genji over to Vegeta. So for now, they're also trying to bolster their health, trying to give themselves a little more crowd control. They realize that the Genji is not consistently able to get into the back line with the Bree hanging around, with the tanks hanging around. And then DM picks off, or Silver 3 gets picked off by DM. Silver 3 committing to that big long-range jump. No one there is waiting for DM. It looked like Lucky Future Zenith was situating themselves for a push, leaving DM by themselves. IDK able to get in there for the res Kenobi. The Crystal is just going off. DM finds Illusion, but the payload's not moving anywhere.
Yeah, it seems like Lucky Future Zenith is just a little bit uncoordinated right now, unfortunately, because it seems like they aren't peeling for DM. DM is getting soloed by the Winston, something that really shouldn't happen. He should be getting heals or something like that, or having a diva come there and help him, or his own Winston. So they really need to work on making sure if DM is getting Dovin, that he's getting help.
Yeah, exactly. Crystal gets rid of IDK though, so if DM goes down, there's no one to res him right back up, and that's usually their go-to res target. Crystal though gets flung away by Marvel's Primal Rage and destroyed. So there's an opportunity for Lucky Future Zenith to push up. Here's a self-destruct into the back line. DM finds a kill onto Moanran. The self-destruct gets nothing. So Michelle unable to capitalize off that. They have to worry about Unhappy, who has their self-destruct for T1w Esports Club. DM now falling back, sees the Mercy waiting. Instead, it looks for Crystal. Why not just snap it right to them? Another two-piece there as Lucky Future Zenith gets the kill onto Waya from Marvel. And then another one. Lucid also getting on the board. That's 5 kills from Lucky Future Zenith. And there's no one else there remaining for T1w Esports Club. They're forced to give up the second checkpoint.
Yeah, they're gonna give up the second checkpoint here, and that was a really good job of the dive tanks, to get onto the back line there. And unfortunately, Silver 3 going a little bit too deep to try to get DM there, leaving the rest of his team vulnerable to the dive of the other dive, as Yawa here goes down just a little bit weird there. But Erster, does have a lot of armor from this rally, and DM has the infrared sight, and DM now, this is the scariest point of Watchpoint Gibraltar, this point where it's just a shooting gallery. If the other Widow goes down, if Crystal goes down here, it's going to be just a free farming Widow for DM.
And this is good though by T1w Esports play. Look how much. Remember how much time Lucky Future Zenith had going into this, and now they've reduced Lucky Future Zenith to about 2 minutes. That's definitely going to help things out. T1w only posted 10 seconds going into this this attempt here by LFZ. Meanwhile, Michelle gets the DMEC and self-destruct on Illusion. Marvel though boops Crystal off. Now DM has full rain down mid to get some shots, but it's Michelle and Marvel who are stealing the kills. DM finds Unhappy, gets the headshot on the DMAC Baby Diva. There's no one to be found by T1w. They have to jump right out. Illusion's the only one that can get there in time, but even that wasn't enough. T1w unable to get there in time. LFZ also completing the map.
What an incredible ult there from Marvel. Able to get the boop and then able to get 2 supports with your juggles. That's definitely worth it for Marvel there. Great play by his Primal Rage there from him. And, you know, it's kind of been a thing about the pressure, right? The pressure on what the Widows are going to be playing and what the Widows are going to be doing. And, you know, when the Winston's getting in the backline and booping there was twice, I think, where he used Primal Rage to kill the Widow. That's definitely worth it because then you leave DM wide open to start getting picks for yourself.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty much what happened, right? Like, once Crystal went down, like, that was it. Lucky Futures had the win and had it in their bag. They met their win condition by killing the other Widowmaker. They just kind of went downhill from there. So now, T1w Esports had 10 seconds on their first attempt. So they secured an extra 50 seconds because they didn't hit overtime. But that only gave more time to Lucky Futures Zenith. They're now back over the 2-minute mark. That also means they're going to be on defense first. T1w Esports, they have a minute. And they pretty much have, like, a time for 1, maybe 2 clean fights. Really 1 here. So with, you know, it's going to come down to whoever gets their ultimates first. Can Crystal get a pick? Or can, like, Silver 3 or Unhappy or Waya get their ultimates quick enough to push them through to the first checkpoint? We'll see. Lucky Futures Zenith, they have DM on that Widowmaker. Kenobi, will it be DM or Crystal getting the first kill here?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see because both of these teams are basically running mirror comps here. So Crystal and, you know, they don't really have the same stakes right now. It just depends on what the tank line is going to be doing to make space for them and to do pressure out the other Widow and who can see each other. But DM sees Crystal first. That's going to be Rez, but that's a huge pick and they won't have that for another 30 seconds.
And there's our answer there. DM gets the first one. Illusion, yep, as he said, forced to use the Rez on Crystal, but at that point, Lucky Futures Zenith had already rotated backwards, so there was no pressure on that Rez from Illusion. It kind of just says, hey, like, I'm establishing dominance. Like, DM, like, or Crystal, you better watch out. DM has their eyes on you this whole time. And LFZ now reducing T1w. 15 seconds remaining. T1w doesn't have an ultimate left. It's up to Crystal. Can they get an early pick to get this fight going? No. DM shuts them down again. What can T1w do without their Widowmaker? They have control of the payload, but for how long? Rejecta has to fall off. DM gets the pick on their 6v4 situation, 6v3 situation. Michelle, micro missiles, 6v2, 6v1, 6v0. T1w Esports is shut down. And that clock will tick away. Overtime has been reduced to nothing. LFZ have stopped T1w at that second quarter just before the first checkpoint, setting themselves up to win Gibraltar and the set.
And there you saw at the end there, you know, it was the Winston from Marvel diving onto Crystal in the end, at the end there, getting onto the backline, getting onto the Widow, creating pressure. And then it's just a body shot that you need when you know, full charge body shot is going to kill at 150, I think. So great job from the Winston and Marvel to create pressure on DM, on Crystal, on the Widow there so that DM can, you know, frag by himself and then get those kills to end the fight. But a tall mountain to climb here, 2.5 minutes to push it basically halfway to point A. They definitely have to pull a lot of tricks out of their hat here for the side of T1w.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what T1w can do here to bring this back. A lot of time on the clock for Lucky Futures Zenith. Very little to go. And we're seeing a little bit of teases here for Lucky Futures Zenith. I want to see, will they stick with this Doomfist or will they just go for the Widowmaker Genji? I think they might just try to see what T1w goes for first and then change on the fly. They have the offensive spawn right there. They don't have to commit to any composition if they don't want to. But right now, LFZ might just want to quickly dislodge T1w with this Doomfist. Anyone who tries to get away or who is separated by the Doomfist crowd control can be cleaned up by Erster and Marvel and Michelle.
Oh, they're staying on it.
They're staying on it. All right, DM going. No, DM jumps right in. Oh,
they're staying off of it.
I think DM went in to make T1w think they had a Doomfist, and now they're changing back to the Widowmaker. I think T1w thinks that they're still stuck on that Doomfist. And now Urster trying to continue to keep the surprise factor alive. Have flanked on the left side, drawing away the tank line a little bit for T1w, allowing Lucky Future Zenith to slowly crawl their way up through the underside of the bridge. They're getting very, very close. 2 minutes left on the clock, Kenobi. And T1w still has to put some pressure on the point, but they can't afford to lose anybody to DM. Will Crystal be able to get this kill first? We saw DM responding the first time. Last attempt. Silver 3 pocket a little bit, and now push up on the front line. Silver 3 has to fall back though. Crystal and DM, neither of them have gotten on the board just yet. But once that kill comes through, that could be it for either team. Kenobi, 1 minute and 45 seconds remaining, and both teams just taking their time. Lucky Future Zenith is drawing this out slowly but surely. There's no rush here. Once they get a pick, that could be it. Crystal finds the Winston on in front of their line. They have to fall back though. Crystal's still holding this back right corner, has the bomb on him for coverage. But look at this. T1w Esports has let Lucky Future Zenith get so close. And then LFZ, they get the DMIC, they get the kills. The tanks have gone down. There's no tanks left for T1w. They have to get the res up, and Urster gets the res from IDK, and then IDK goes down from Bullet Run. Can they stay alive? Marvel has the Primo range. That should be able to convert this, but Illusion gets the res. Silver 3 still alive, but Urster with the blade finds the Mercy, and he's nowhere. Slingshot for the Mercy, can't keep alive, but there it is. Lucky Future Zenith converting a very aggressive push, gets the map, gets the set. LFZ are your winners here, 3-1, and they maintain their perfect set score here, Kenobi. They dropped the map, but it was worth it in the end.
Yeah, and I mean, they dropped that map, so now they know that they can bleed, and they know what they need to work on it. But great job there from them. Great job from Lucky Future Zenith there at the end. Very patient play, waiting for that perfect pick and waiting for that time where, you know, we know that we can go in. We know that we're going to be able to get that pick that we need to win this fight. And then Urster with the blade, great job there getting that last 3K to put the icing on the cake. But if you're T1w, you definitely come away from this with your head held high because you were the first ones to take a map off of Lucky Future Zenith, and they are immortal no longer.
Exactly, right? If you're David against Goliath, you can't be mad if a few acorns just are thrown off the Xperia. Eventually, you have to just get that first shot, and they did. They cracked the armor just a little bit, and that might set things up for the rest of the season. Thank you all for joining us for this cast. We're going to throw it over to the desk in a moment. It's been an amazing and exciting set, and also very much thanks to Sunkern on production. You don't get to shout them out enough.
Yep.
They go throughout this without talking with us, putting in a ton of work. So very huge shout outs to Sunkern for producing. But don't go anywhere. We're going to break things down on the desk. So Mushu, why don't you and the rest of the guys take it away?
Absolutely. And thanks, guys, for finishing up the cast with all the energy still. We had the 5-map series and then now a very long 4-map series too. But like you said, Lucky Future Zenith taking it 3-1. They do drop a map to T1w, guys. So let's go ahead and just remind ourselves where we're at in the half. We were 1-1, right? And coming out of that. And so then we went into Volskaya and finally finished on Watch Point Gibraltar. So given that we were talking about just macro plays and how they were playing and using the ultimate charge, Blank, let's go to you first. So Volskaya, there's a lot of play and interplay between, especially around Michelle playing the Brigitte. So thoughts on that? Why did that come out and how did it work?
So we had DM originally on the Brigitte to start off with. It didn't work out too well. Placed himself in kind of strange situations where Crystal was able to find the headshots onto him. Then Michelle switches over to Brigitte afterwards, plays a lot more alongside the team, plays as a second tank, as Panda loved to point out there. And this worked extremely well and just put the pressure on for T1w, and they were able to handle with it. There's just some amazing plays that come out, but the thought process behind them all is what really shines out for me. So you saw LFZ on the very, very first point, which was a Valk blade. We saw them move up to that immediately. They made a decision. We'll go to the second point. We'll Valk. We'll give Urster the blade. And then he took out both DPS, and the rest of that was just cleanup crew. It's very easy for them to take it out. And they were relying a lot more on these set plays afterwards, and they were taking space. And we saw that going through into Gibraltar.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the better parts about Brigitte, right? I mean, you could take her along with Winston. Might as well be a half tank. She is a support, by the way, in case you did forget in those certain circumstances, but can create a lot of space herself and can do a lot of damage at that. So it can be a lot of versatility that you are not necessarily ready for, especially when you pull it out on the secondary defense like they did, Moosh. LFZ really pulling out their guns and pulling out all of these different compositions to really push T1w to the next level.
And T1w going to the next level. And speaking on that, we saw Crystal really starting to wake up on the squad. Playing the Widowmaker was really starting to hold his own. So, Panda, I'm going to go back to you on this one because I think it's something that we definitely discussed during while watching as well. Was just just tell me about Crystal, especially on say on Volskaya and even into Watchpoint too.
Yeah, I mean, especially walking into Watchpoint Gibraltar, T1w altogether, they must have been feeling pretty mad decent, regardless of the fact of being down in the series, having that one victory up against LFC, giving them their first loss at that. That's huge, giving them their first map loss, breaking off the winning streak and really showing how human they actually are on the battlefield. Really gave Crystal that extra momentum. But what I think actually gave it way was the devastation towards the other side. I mean, we saw for the side of Lucky Future Zenith, DM really got snuffed out. He became very suppressed in a way. And it really got turned against him, right? The dive tanks, coordination coming out from T1w, looking so good all the way until the very end, until DM and the rest of the team, including Urster and Marvel, all showed up together. I mean, Michelle had a little bit of those dry games in between with a little bit of bright lights in between, but it was those final moments of Watchpoint Gibraltar where we finally got to see both Crystal come through very strong, but it just wasn't enough in the end. LFZ just pulling back, realizing who they are as a team and why they are on the top part of their group.
Awesome. And so I think one point, the kind of last point about this too, because we saw this arc of where there's the rise of Crystal, but then LFZ kind of rose to the challenge and snuffed him out in return after DM was snuffed out. So Blank, who did you see on the side of the squad of T1w, excuse me, that, so who on the squad in LFZ was responsible for kind of silencing Crystal at the end of the day, taking them to that 3-1 win in Watchpoint?
Well, DM a lot of the times I had the advantage in these fights. Widow, he plays a mean Widow, right? But Crystal was able to find the space he needed, provided by his tanks. Marvel realized this after a round had been by, and then as soon as they started to pressure Crystal as well, as DM was able to find those shots, find those picks. We saw some incredible reads from DM, as well as seeing Crystal just come back to the fight on top left window, point B, and he just blasted Crystal's head off. But I think the major thing that we need to look out here for is the way LFC takes space, and the very, very final point. This is where we see LFZ playing at their best, where they come through top side, they clear it all out, they move DM into server afterwards, and from there it's so easy because he's got all the LOS he needs. And then Marvel moves out, pops a Primal Rage, down goes the Winston Shield, so you can't see into server to take down DM. And after that, DM just pops off, hitting tanks over and over. And although you don't see him in the kill field, he is chunking people.
I mean, even still completing the map Blank on Watchpoint Gibraltar against LFZ, they still had a win condition set to get the payload as far as possible into the point A capture point. But then all of a sudden, LFZ putting on their top hats, pulling rabbits out of the hats, and they said, let me show you your win condition. In map 5 just disappear and just came alive once more. They woke back up, if you will, and everything just came back together. It was very fantastic to see how quickly they were able to turn the tides of battle, especially when they were down in the man advantage, coming back very strong.
Awesome. Well, I think great points across the board. Well, thanks both of you for breaking down this game. And last, and everyone on the broadcast crew, especially Sunkern, like Rapture said, behind the desk and able to run the show and give you just the bird's eye view, or just bringing us all together here on broadcast. But that's going to do it from us. We'll be back same time tomorrow, starting at 5 a.m. Eastern time, 10 a.m. British Standard Time for Chinese Contenders. But just stay tuned. We are less than an hour away from from Contenders South America for those games. It's going to be so awesome. Group B, one of the most exciting groups that we've seen in South America. So stay tuned for that. Go, use the restroom, get a snack, and bring it back here to Broadcast.gg's channel here. So we're going to go ahead and throw it and kill the stream for now, but we'll be back in about 45 minutes. So thank you all for tuning in. Thanks so much for watching this English stream of Chinese Contenders, and we'll see you next time.